Pay close attention. What you are seeing today is fulfilling Bible prophecy. Welcome to YPN News, bringing you news as it relates to Bible prophecy and explained by Yeshua Hawkins. Katan, we see Syria is in the news again this week, having more protests taking place.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like peace is anywhere in sight in Syria, and in fact, looks like they're reaching a breaking point very soon here. In fact, in recent news, RT reported that Syrian opposition has rounded an Arab League mission on violence in the country and is urging the UN to enact a Libya-style no-fly zone. One of the reasons for this move by the opposition is because they accuse the Arab League mission for covering for President Assad's regime for suppressing protesters. This particular group of observers, based in Cairo, Egypt, dismissed the claims of being persuaded by either side and stated that the claims were preemptive.
On the other hand, the League claims in its defense that it has made Damascus compromise into pulling tanks from civilian areas and to release 3,000 prisoners in recent weeks. Now, from the website alternativerights.com, Richard Spencer stated that the Syrian opposition is following after the Libyan opposition movement by utilizing the foreign military forces to help advance itself.
He also stated in an interview concerning the Syrian government that this was a move to make a deal with the United States and use their military power to topple the Syrian government, and that the UN is a tool of the global American order. Spencer also said that once the no-fly zone was in effect, that would result in regime change, war, and rebels being lifted to a new position after their enemy is taken out.
Now, as the Great River Euphrates is drying up, military actions in this area keep heating up. The U.S. is now moving thousands of its troops to Israel for a planned joint exercise. This comes after tensions increased in the Persian Gulf when Iran threatened to block the critical Hormuz Strait. Now, keep in mind, about 14 tankers carrying 15.5 million barrels of crude oil pass through the strait on an average every day.
Some analysts voice fears this troop movement could be the buildup to a military strike on Iran. This comes at a particularly sensitive time in the region, as the American President, Barack Obama, has signed into law sanctions that will make it very difficult for countries to buy oil from Iran. The EU is also considering imposing sanctions against Iranian oil exports by the end of January. The Iranian currency dropped to a record low after the American president signed into law those sanctions.
The Israeli military is reporting that it will be holding its biggest military drill ever with the United States. And what's important to note is that we're not talking here of only a military exercise. We're talking about the deployment of thousands of American troops into Israel. This joint exercise will be testing various anti-missile systems against both rockets and other missiles.
The Iranian officials are saying that they believe this is the latest and most blatant sign that Israel is planning to attack Iran and attack it sometime soon. Israel has denied this claim, and their announcement of this joint exercise comes just 10 days after the Iranians held their own military exercise near the Strait of Hormuz.
Iran's response to these sanctions and troop movement is increased threats to close and block the oil trade through the Hormuz Strait. They've also warned the American naval presence in and around the Persian Gulf. Also, Iran is preparing to continue its own naval exercises. Now, these are all part of a series of exercises that have been dubbed the Great Prophet. And that, my dear friends, has people in that region, as well as the international community, very concerned.
Well, for further details, we're going to join our correspondent, Larry McGee, who has been researching further developments on this, and he'll give us a little update on this. Larry?
Thanks, Ghassan. Thousands of American troops are suiting up for arrival in Israel at present, and what the Obama administration and military officials are officially announcing as an exercise. This, however, comes on the heels of mounting tension between the U.S. and Tehran and follows a public statement recently issued by Israel declaring its readiness for war with Iran. To offer insight as to where this is all headed, Jamil Abdi, policy director for the National Iranian American Council, interviewed for RT News, argues that the inevitable conclusion of the tit-for-tat maneuvers demonstrated by Iran's exercise in the Straits of Hormuz and America's joint exercise with Israel is war, and that those arguing any different at this point haven't much sensible ground to stand on. In Mr. Abdi's analysis and those who share his perspective, the American-Israeli Iran must conform with no compromise approach leaves little room for anything other than confrontation, and the contingent being deployed to Israel by America is in preparation for that. As to the question of whether or not America, despite its heightened presence, will nonetheless attempt to occupy a backseat role and allow Israel to launch and take credit for any strike, Mr. Abdi concluded by stating that Iran's position is that any attack by Israel will be considered an attack by America. For YPN News, I'm Larry McGee. Katan, Jeff, back to you.
Wow, thank you very much, Larry. Amazing. Stay tuned. Up next is another exciting sermon by the overseer Yisrael Hawkins as he explains Bible prophecy. For YPN News, I'm Katan Alexander.
And I'm Jeffrey Heimerman.
Thanks for watching.